I'm Sean O'Donnell, and I'm going to demonstrate for you how I fly using hand controls. This is the Sky Arrow 600 LSA, and it is equipped with a factory-installed hand control option. Here's how it works. The airplane can be flown with either the standard rudder pedals or with this extra stick that controls the movement of the rudder and throttle. The stick can be installed or removed in just a few seconds, and the rudder pedals can be adjusted out of the way if needed. To control the rudder, you simply push forward for right rudder or pull to the rear for left rudder. To operate the throttle, you just twist the stick to increase or decrease the power. As with any airplane, you operate the aileron and the elevator with the standard controls. In this case, the control stick is on the right. Notice too that the Sky Arrow has finger-controlled brakes next to the right stick. Now let me show you what this looks like in flight. When using full power for takeoff and climb, the Sky Arrow turns to the left, so you need to add and hold right rudder to compensate and keep the nose where you want it. When power is reduced for cruise, you release the rudder input, and you can adjust the amount of rudder needed with the handy electric trim on top of the right stick. In level flight, it's easy to see how the optional rudder control works. Watch the nose as I add left rudder, and then add right rudder. Again, pushing on the stick moves the nose to the right, and pulling moves the nose to the left. On landing, you simply add the amount of rudder you need to keep the nose straight over the runway. Or, if you have a crosswind, keeping the nose where you want it to be. And that's it. It's a simple and effective way of flying with hand controls.
We're here at Sebring. I'm Dan Johnson, and we're going to talk to a couple of people here you want to meet. First is one that I know very well because of his very fine work as the Able Flight organization. Meet Charles Stites in the back seat of this Sky Arrow. And this airplane, the gentleman in the front seat, who Charles will introduce in a moment, Sean, is doing some really fine work. But before we get to you, Sean, let's talk to Charles just briefly about Able Flight and how you came to know the gentleman that's going to fly you around.
Well, Dan, the Able Flight was started in 2006, and by 2007 we had selected Sean as one of our first scholarship winners. And he became our second licensed pilot, as I recall, and very shortly afterwards bought one of these Sky Arrows. And ever since then, we've actually rented his airplane for our flight training. We've had somewhere probably over 15 people licensed in Sean's Sky Arrow.
Is that right? So, kind of like the guy with the, I forgot his name now, with the shaver that he liked, and he bought the whole company. You liked the airplane, you trained in so much, you bought one, huh?
Well, yeah, so the Able Flight was really kind to give a scholarship out, and I felt like I would want to do everything I could to pay it forward to the next person.
I like that phrase.
That's exactly what I tried to do. So.
Well, I see that, you know, we have to say that you're not a typical pilot. You roll up in a wheelchair, and you get in the airplane.
Yeah.
How'd that come about?
So when I was 17, I was paralyzed in a motorcycle accident on my way to school. So somebody pulled out into traffic, and I came off the bike and I broke my back, leaving me paraplegic. However, I always wanted to fly ever since I was a kid. So the nexus of the two came about in 2007 when Able Flight started and created their scholarship program to train people in airplanes. And the initial conversation with Charles is, can I rent your airplane from you? And he says, well, we don't have airplanes. We have scholarships. And then he encouraged me to apply, and I was very, very grateful for the opportunity. So,
how did you meet Charles in the first place? Okay,
yeah.
Motorcycle accident, interest in flying,
yeah.
Stumbled across Able Flight somehow. How did that happen?
Well, I had a very successful career, and I was out there just doing my thing. And like most people in their 30s, it's time to start thinking about how am I going to spend my well-earned money. And that was going to be flying. Following
excellent. We always love hearing that,
yeah,
of course.
Right, childhood dream, just like anybody else. And through the magic of this thing called the interweb, I came across a guy named, well, I didn't even know Charles, I just knew the organization, Able Flight. Says, that sounds great, I'll probably donate to them, but I'd really like to rent their airplane, because the problem was there aren't many hand-controlled aircraft.
Right.
With having no use of my legs, I need something to control the yaw and the braking of the aircraft. And there are a lot of hand controls that were done in the 70s.
Kind of kludged together things, though, from what I've
Kludged
seen.
is a very polite word for it. What I would say is, you wouldn't catch me flying them, you know. And when I saw the Sky Arrow and how elegant the hand controls were, and I knew that was going to be the airplane that I would
Now this particular airplane doesn't have it, but is this the, no, that's the,
yeah, this
I
one.
forgot where it goes, but anyway, it's a little simple arrangement that, oh, you do have it here.
Yeah, because it's
Okay, great.
removable. Yeah, we actually, this is about the 4th or 5th time I've flown this one down here to Sebring. So what happens
Okay,
is,
I don't know if our camera can see in here, but there's just a little small hole, and this handle just plugs right into it down
just
here.
a little docking station there. And then what happens is,
Okay, you see it right away. It's starting to move it.
Yeah, the beauty of it is it gives you right rudder and left rudder.
Okay.
Or right rudder and left rudder rather, and throttle.
You do have to keep that straight, don't you?
Yeah, you really should. You know.
You'll know right away if you're doing it wrong, I guess.
But the great thing about it is it puts throttle in that hand too, so that when you're ruddering or when you're throttling, you can rudder.
You can do both.
You
right?
can do both, and that it gives you the full control of the aircraft in both hands. And then instead of toe brakes, you have here just regular finger brakes, and that's the same for everybody. So.
Right, this is the same system that's in all the airplanes.
That's correct.
So that's
yeah.
not a hand control thing. It's just this one tube. And these airplanes they sort of come ready for this?
They do now. Well, the Hansons, they only import ones that are ready for hand controls. And the only difference is that docking station. That comes out, and it's a regular, standard, 2 rudder pedal aircraft.
Yeah, we do want to make sure Hanson Air Group is the name of the company, represents the airplane and did before all of this, but the hand controls, which were developed by the guys in Italy, I believe, but the Hanson Air Group folks have been a terrific supporter of what Charles is doing. And, you know, it's a good business model, too, because they're selling some airplanes. They sold you one.
They sure did, yeah.
That's not a bad thing. So,
Yeah.
and now what are you doing with the airplane that you bought now? You're not just flying it around having a ball with it. Well, maybe you're doing that, too, but what else are you doing with it?
So, well, we built a business around it. So we started the first and still the only light sport flight training in Philadelphia.
Philadelphia area located,
in the Philadelphia area. And I've been at 4 different airports in Philadelphia. But we're actually changing the model a little bit because the Able flight has grown so much and now we're doing so much with them that the general flight training business we don't need that to support the aircraft anymore. So what we're going to do is I'm actually onto my 2nd airplane. It's arriving at the end of this month.
All right, cool.
Sold the first airplane to a disabled person who needed a hand-controlled aircraft. And she's an 18-year-old girl up in New York now, so that's hers now. And when we get the new one, we're going to start it as a membership club.
Okay.
But because we have such
That's a good model, whether it's hand control or not. That's not a bad business model for aviation, I think.
Yeah.
But good for you for moving ahead with it.
Yeah, and we have a unique model to it because it's going to be a small membership club because we don't need a lot of members because AbleFlight covers, by operating with AbleFlight, we can cover a lot of the cost of the airplane. So there's no buy-in, it's just a monthly membership. You can fly whenever you want.
Oh, wow, that's a pretty sweet deal. Charles, I think recently you've updated the numbers in my mind. 33, is that still the figure?
That's right, 33 licensed pilots to date.
Now these are people that no prior experience and not the opportunities that they needed until you did what you did.
And it's a really unique and kind of eclectic group of people. We have I think 17 are paraplegics and quadriplegics, 7 are women, 6 or 7 are wounded veterans. We have amputees, we have people with congenital birth issues, and it really doesn't matter. We're able to accommodate almost everyone. And 4 years ago, we did something that I think has been powerful for the growth of AbleFlight, and that is we developed a partnership with Purdue University to do our training there. And in that 4 years, we have sent 17 people to Purdue.
Wow.
And they've sent us back 17 licensed pilots. That's a 100% success rate in that story.
Yeah, I don't think there's hardly any, if you want to call yourself a flight school, I know you're not, but if you want to call it a flight school, you've got as good a success ratio as, well, anybody can have, actually. So pretty terrific. And you've done this exclusively in light sport so far.
Yes.
And I just love seeing the smile on Sean's face here and how you're able to run with it as well. And it's very exciting to see what you're doing here. What do you see for the future of your flying and the work with AbleFlight?
Well, you just see it growing where we'll step back 30 years from now and look at 300 licensed pilots.
That'd be terrific.
Those are 300 people that, if it wasn't for the hard work of a team of people, would have never had the opportunity, and that's a really good thing to rest your head on at night.
Yeah, that's pretty nice, going to bed at night going, hey, there's some more smiles out there in the world because of this. So. Yeah. And I'm just envisioning that more of this is going to follow because you can't stop a really good thing like this.
What I appreciate, Dan, is the opportunity to also say is not just the sponsorship and it's not just the money, It's that this is a way to reach out to other people. So if there's someone out there that sees this, that knows someone or might be a candidate themselves, then go to our website, download the application form, and apply. So maybe through this we've reached somebody else who can become a pilot.
That's really cool. Another smile or two, or hundreds maybe, waiting out there somewhere. So let me mention a few names here. Hanson Air Group brings in the airplane, has given you a lot of logistical support. You name some of your sponsors. Able Flight, we want to get a web address from you in just a minute. Do you have a web address that you use
Sure,
as well?
if you want to follow
Okay.
what we're doing with our Sky Arrow, it's phillysportpilot.com.
Okay, and we'll put that up on the screen for people. And Charles, you want to give us your web address?
Ableflight.org. O-R-G.
I've had the opportunity to write quite a bit about what Able Flight is doing, focused on some of the scholarship winners. I think it's a terrific program on a personal level, so please go check that out. You can see some of that at bydanjohnson.com or bydanjohnson.com. Thanks a lot for joining us here today at Sebring.